Hi friends, I am Kelly Ann. Welcome to my channel, Learning and Laughing with Kelly Ann. Thank you for joining me today. Today I just wanted to share with you a recipe that I made. Actually, I made it twice. The first time I made it, I didn't follow it closely and it didn't turn out the greatest, my fault. And this was a recipe that my sister shared with me. A shout out to my sister, Lisa. Thank you, Lise. It's not her recipe. It actually says that the author of the recipe is Pam for the love of cooking. And this is the recipe is it's called the Mississippi pot roast. You might be able to find it on the internet or YouTube or wherever. But I thought I would share it with you because it was so delicious. The first time I did it, I didn't, like I mentioned, I didn't follow it correctly. It said to use unsalted butter. I used salted because I didn't have unsalted butter at the time. And I also added some extra seasoning. And as a result, the whole thing turned out a little too salty. So I'm just mentioning that, so don't alter this recipe. If you follow it to a T, it's delicious. And so this is the ingredients. 1 3-pound chuck roast, freshly cracked black pepper to taste, 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter, you need to divide it up, a half a cup of water, 1 of the 1-ounce packets of dry ranch dressing seasoning mix, 1 of the 1-ounce packages of au jus gravy mix, 7 to 8 pepperoncini peppers, and 3 cloves of garlic, thinly sliced. Now the pepperoncini peppers, I bought them in a jar. I didn't buy them individually, and they were already chopped, so I just put, a certain amount. I just kind of eyed that. That's the only thing that I didn't really, do to a T. But you preheat the oven to 275 degrees, and you season the entire chuck roast with the freshly cracked black pepper to taste. And then you heat a tablespoon of butter in a Dutch oven. It talked about using a Dutch oven. I just used a regular fry pan because I ended up putting it into a Pampered Chef stone to cook it in my oven. Because eventually you're supposed to take this Dutch oven and put it in the oven, Dutch oven skillet, and you put it in the oven. But mine isn't big enough, so I first used just a regular fry pan to brown it, and then I put it into a Pampered Chef stone, casserole dish to cook it. So anyway, you put a tablespoon of butter in your pan, and then you add the roast to it and lightly sear it on all sides, about 3 minutes on each side, or a total of 3 minutes, just kind of searing the outside. And then you remove it from the heat. Then you add in the half a cup of water to the Dutch oven if you're going to use a Dutch oven and put it in. What I did was I put the water in my, again, Pampered Chef stone. And then you sprinkle it with the ranch seasoning and the au jus seasoning packets. Okay, so, and then I mixed the water up, mixed it in there. And then I I put my roast in there, my browned roast. And then I added the 5 tablespoons of butter. Again, just kind of separating all of that. So you use the 1 tablespoon to cook, to brown it, and then the 5 remaining tablespoons of unsalted butter to kind of surround the roast. And then you cover it. Oh, then you add the pepperoncinis to it and the sliced garlic around the roast as well. Then you cover it tight with a tight-fitting lid. I just used aluminum foil, and I placed it in my oven and I baked it for, it says a total of 4 hours, but I did 2 hours. And then I took it out and you flip it. Okay, it says to flip it. But when I flipped it, I also added some vegetables. I added those little red potatoes and some carrots and some broccoli to mine. And it was kind of laying in the juice that it made. And it was really delicious. So I flipped it after 2 hours and added the vegetables, and I covered it back up, and I put it back in the oven again for another 2 hours. And then so at the end there, you remove it from the oven, you allow it to cool for a bit, and you remove any bits of fat, and then you shred the meat with 2 forks, and you serve it, and then you enjoy it. And it was absolutely wonderful, delicious. The first time I made it, I told you I made it with too much salt. I used a 3-pound chuck roast. The second time I made it, I used a 4.3-pound roast, and we have 3 meals between my husband, for each of us. So a total of 6 meals if you look at it individually. And so it was just really fabulous. It's tender as ever and tasty as ever, not too salty. It's really, really, really delicious. So a big shout out to Pam for the love of cooking. Shout out to my sister for introducing me to this recipe. I'm always a little hesitant about cooking meat. I'm not the greatest at cooking meat. I can cook casseroles and a lot of other things, but I like to improvise, and this time I couldn't improvise. Tried to last time, didn't turn out right. So this is a delicious recipe, very simple, very easy, as you just heard, and it makes a lot of food for probably a large family. Would cook a lot of, I don't know how many it says it actually serves, but oh, servings 8. Yeah, so it depends on the size roast that you use. But I cooked both roasts for the 3-pound and the 4.3-pound at the same amount of time, total of 4 hours at the 275 degrees. So anyway, I just hope that you try it. Let me know. Add the comments. I'd love to know if you switched it up or did anything or how it turned out. I would love to know that. And I hope that you have a wonderful, supernaturally blessed day making some good, delicious meals. God bless you.